Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. I am Dave Biddle. I'll be joined by Steve Helwagen in just a moment, and there's a ton of stuff to get into on today's show. Buckeyes stay number one in the college football playoff rankings. We're going to get into some injury stuff, give you, the updates that we heard yesterday, and we're going to read between the lines of some of the things that Ryan Day said, about guys like Lathan Ransom and a few other guys. We'll talk about the Michigan State game this Saturday night. Spread up to 31.5. Buckeyes that open at 28.5. So that big spread is going up. And of course, we're going to give you the latest on the cheaters up north. Before we get into all that, I want to let you guys know about our sponsor, Manscaped, and they have another great read for you guys, another great deal and a great message for you guys. And here we go. It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's a ball trimmer sent from space. Gentlemen, our friends over at Manscaped have been working night and day to bring you a below-the-waist grooming experience like none other with their brand new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. We're talking about a next-generation trimmer with interchangeable blade heads for whatever shave your mind can imagine. Upgrade your grooming game to the Ultrasphere this year by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with code Bucknuts. High tech for low places, Manscaped. AI is cool, but I think this might be the biggest technological advancement the world has ever seen. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code Bucknuts at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code Bucknuts at manscaped.com. I can promise you've never seen a ball trimmer look like a spaceship. Get yours today from our folks at Manscaped. All right, there we go. Let's bring in Steve Helwagen. All right, Ohio State stays at number one. There was some talk they could fall to number two. They did not. I like it, Steve. I mean, if they win out, I think there's no doubt Ohio State's going to enter the CFP number one.
That would be crazy. And the question then is, where do you place them? Do you put them in their traditional spot at the Rose Bowl, or do you give them geographical consideration and put them at the Sugar Bowl? We're putting the cart before the horse, though. I mean, they've still got to beat a Michigan team that, if you watch both teams play 9 games, you'd look at them and say one thing isn't quite like the other. But Michigan has obviously not played anybody the caliber of Penn State or Notre Dame yet. So we're going to get a little better feeling, I think, after this weekend, exactly how good Michigan is. If they're able to go to Penn State and do, something similar to what they did to them last year in Ann Arbor, then you're going to say, oh, they truly are legit. But if this is a 4-quarter game and Penn State, is still there in the fourth quarter, and obviously if Penn State wins the game, then something's not, quite right with Michigan. So I guess we'll find out more about that. But Ohio State is well positioned. Let's put it that way. You need to go out this Saturday. Everybody has whipped up on Michigan State. Michigan beat them by 49 points at Michigan State. So, Ohio State, I don't think they have to necessarily match that, but they need to go out and play like they're capable. And this past week on offense against Rutgers was not a good showing, at least till the second half. And I think that they need to have a good 4-quarter game, go out and put it all together. So we'll see if they could do that this week.
Yeah, we've all picked apart this team. I think we've been fair. I think we've said the good, and when there's been bad, we've talked about the bad. So I don't think we've been unfair, but it's just interesting that
special teams.
This team, special teams, exactly. The running game at times till Travion got back, short yardage, red zone. Special teams, fake punts. But seriously, I mean, despite all that, we've dissected every part of this team, and here they are, number one. I absolutely love it.
It's crazy.
All right, now injury stuff. I want to get into this. Just the way Coach Day answers questions about Lathan Ransom. I said this on our live shot yesterday, right after interviews. I want to see if I think you agreed with this. I just can't remember. To me, if I had to read between the lines with Lathan Ransom, I'm guessing he'll be back Michigan game at the earliest. Just reading between the lines, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it sounds like a 3-week injury to me. Sounds like something, I don't know if you'd call it structural, but something that, is going to hamper you for a couple of weeks. And so, I think that you're looking at excuse
Bless
me,
you.
in live radio. What can you
Zoom
do?
tight.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would push the cough button if I was on the
I
radio.
was gonna say, yeah. It's the one thing about doing it
But
live. Yeah.
but to me, it seems like he's going to be out and miss several games. I think Tommy Eichenberg will take 2 aspirins to whatever it's bothering him, and he'll be out there. Uh, beyond that, sounds like, we at the stadium, we could see Stover over there jogging and trying to do calisthenics and trying to get ready to play in the second half. And they never did put him into the game. They didn't need him. Obviously, they pulled it together in the second half, but he had a huge brace on his knee. So you just wonder if he's got some kind of a knee sprain or something that's bothering him. And he's trying to gut it out and get to the finish line as well. So, these guys lay it all out there on the line. You think about Josh Proctor, he lowered the boom on that guy and knocked himself out. It seemed like he was down on the field for a couple of minutes until they were able to get him up, and he was able to kind of gingerly walk off on his own power. After the game, he was fine. He was smiling. Jordan Hancock was doing an interview as people saw the video we posted on the site, and Jordan called for Proctor to come over, and he gave him all the credit for the interception, which, this is a team game, obviously, and great to see 2 teammates that get along like that. And he was all smiles, and he was, pretty coherent after the game. So I would think, kind of like Chip Trayanum came back after that Purdue game and was okay the next week. Perhaps the same thing will be true for Proctor. But they got some guys who are dealing with it. Denzel Burke, they're trying to get him to practice this week and see if he can have a good week of practice. And if so, then he would be out there, I would presume, at least for some of the plays against Michigan State. But, you got a young kid, Jermaine Matthews, who's just tearing it up right now and doing a great job. Davison Egbenosin and Jordan Hancock also at corner. It's such a luxury to have 3 safeties and 3 corners that you can rotate and feel comfortable. And I guess 4 corners if you count the freshmen. So they really had to dig deep on Saturday, Dave. They had to put Malik Hartford and Kai Stokes in the game when they went to the dime package with 6 DBs, and they really had to dig deep. I think that was the first time Stokes has played, and this year. So, it speaks to the depth that they've got, no doubt.
All right, Michigan State this Saturday night. As I mentioned in the intro, I mean, it's opened with a pretty big spread at 28.5, and it's gone up 3 points. That's a pretty big jump already. And that happened relatively quickly. So obviously the money is going toward Buckeyes. But that's a huge spread. But man, this Michigan State team is in disarray, as you mentioned. I don't even really care about the spread. I just want Ohio State to get a big lead, get your frontline guys out of there. You do want to get stats for Marv. I get that, because he is still in the running for the Heisman, as he should be. As I keep saying, they keep calling him the best player in college football. We have an award for that. I get that, but still, I want to see, get a huge lead at halftime, get as many young guys out there as possible in the second half. That's what I want to see, Steve.
Yeah. Marvin was in there yesterday on Monday, working his craft, catching balls off. I guess yesterday would have been a Tuesday in there. I can't keep the days straight. In there working his craft, catching balls on the jugs machine. And he's a workhorse, that is for sure. And you can target him 12 or 14 times and know that he's going to make a ton of great plays for you. And, even though he was kind of quiet this past week, he did have the 2 touchdown catches on the goal line. Both great plays by he and McCord. I brought this up yesterday, I think, on our show. Somebody on Twitter posted a side-by-side of J.J. McCarthy after 9 starts and Kyle McCord after 9 starts. The stats are almost identical, with McCord having some advantages actually in some of it. But, we hold J.J. McCarthy up on a pedestal because Michigan hadn't had anybody nearly as good as him in years. And we downrate Kyle McCord because he's not Justin Fields or C.J. Stroud. So, we were joking, walking out of there, Ohio State fans can fill up a message board with everything that's wrong with their team. But if you try to rank them number 2 or number 3, they are the first people to say that Kirk Herbstreit is a traitor. And it's quite a dichotomy, Dave. Either the team sucks or they're number 1. Hell, they're both. So, hey, play the games and it's all going to come out in the wash.
We got a couple. I want to circle back here. Mika asked about Devin Brown. Yeah, I mean, Devin Brown, Mika, is Devin Brown healthy on YouTube? Well, he could have played. I think it's one of those things like Steve was talking about, like, let's say Cade Stover or Emeka Ibuka there for like a couple of weeks where they could have played. Emeka obviously returned last week. I think Devin Brown could have played if something happened to Kyle McCord last week, but getting him that extra week was big, Coach Day said. So I think now if something happened to Kyle McCord, Devin Brown would play. And I think even if, something doesn't happen to Kyle, if they just get a big lead, I think we might see Devin Brown this week. It's a high ankle sprain, so maybe you don't want to take a chance there, Steve. What's your read on Devin Brown?
Yes, I think if something happened to McCord, he would play. And I think if they're on the goal line and there's an opportunity to run the Devin Brown package, I think they will do that. So, again, probably depends on the score as well. Maybe this is a game that Tristan Gebbia gets to knock off some rust, or even Lincoln Kienholz might get to see a few plays. But, if you're able to do what Michigan did to Michigan State, we didn't talk at all in the press conference about Michigan State. And Ryan Day said one sentence about how he respected what Harlan Barnett has done at Michigan State. It's almost as if it's on one of his cue cards to remind him that you guys are playing Michigan State this week, who is 3-6, had lost 6 games in a row up until beating Nebraska 20-17 last week at home. Good win for them. Nebraska, 5-win team, and was playing to stay in the lead in the West. And that wasn't good enough to beat a team that had lost 6 straight games, that had been blown out in 5 of those terrible losses. The only one that was close, they were up late against Rutgers, and Rutgers pulled it out 27-24. Otherwise, Michigan State's been blown out of the water for 7 weeks, basically. And so, is this going to be a terrible bad blowout to where you get other quarterbacks in the game? Could be. I guess Ohio State can't, what I saw last week with Michigan, they got ahead of Purdue 17-0, and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be just like Michigan State, and it wasn't. They started playing with their food a little bit and didn't put them away, and till later on. So, what do you want to see out of Ohio State? You want to see a lights out performance and serve all masters. Marvin Harrison Jr., get the young guys playing time. Have a good showing for McCord. Henderson, get him a quick 100 and get him out. Whatever. You want to serve all masters this week. That's what you want to see.
Steve, Michigan has until today to respond to the Big Ten's notice of disciplinary action. So something might happen today in this ongoing saga. We're going to get into that in just a moment, but I want to tell you guys about our other sponsor on today's show, nuts.com. Yeah, it's fitting, right? Bucknuts, nuts.com. Dare I say Manscaped? That's fitting as well. But nuts.com, I love this company. Nuts.com is your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, dried fruit, sweets, and more. Their wide selection means there is something for everyone. Nuts.com offers plenty of gluten-free options, organic choices, and other diet-friendly products. Whether you're looking for something sweet, savory, or need to stock up on everyday cooking essentials, you're bound to find something to try. At Nuts.com, quality is a top priority. They roast their nuts and pop their corn the same day it ships, so they reach you deliciously fresh. Satisfaction is guaranteed. They sent my family a big box of goodies, and we are loving it. My wife and daughters and myself, nuts, chocolate-covered gummy bears. Yes, chocolate-covered gummy bears. And I love the half-pop popcorn. I've never even heard of that before. I mean, we've all had popcorn before. There's those like half-pop pieces that are real crunchy and good. They have I don't know how they did it. They have like a whole bag of that. You can get as many as you want. Half pop popcorn is awesome. You can shop a la carte at any time or opt into hassle-free auto delivery so you never run out of your favorite items. And if you're already stocked up at home, they also sell directly to businesses. Right now, nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with purchase and free shipping on orders of $29 or more at nuts.com/bucknuts. So go check out all of the delicious options at nuts.com/bucknuts. You'll receive a free gift and free shipping when you spend $29 or more. Once again, that's nuts.com/bucknuts. All right. Let's get into it, Steve. What the people want to hear about. We have a poll on Bucknuts. I didn't start it. One of our longtime subscribers, Foxstar 2001, started a poll this morning on our site, and it was like talking about the Michigan stuff, and it was like the options were, because we have like 500 threads on our message board, about the Michigan stuff, and his point was like, do you love it? You can't get enough of it. Is it like, well, I like it, but we got to like maybe condense it a little bit? Is it I like it, but we should just have one thread? Is it I'm tired of it. Let's move on. Let me tell you, folks. We had voting in Ohio yesterday. This is a landslide. It was like 90% of Bucknutters were like, no, I can't get enough of it. So the people have spoken. All right, let's get into it. Now, as I said earlier, Michigan has until today to respond to the Big Ten, their notice of disciplinary action. What do you think is going to happen, Steve? I keep saying it. Something's going to happen. They're going to get punished. I just don't know what, and I don't know when.
There's a former Ohio State player, Matt Finkus, and he has been very active on Twitter.
Yes, he has.
Tweeting about this. And, of course, he was a captain for Ohio State. And this strikes I think he might be, along with Jim Lachey, on the committee that does the gold pants for the current players as part of the alumni club of the football program. And I want to tell you, a lot of people invested in this. You hear people say, oh, don't penalize the current Michigan players, for this, and so on and so forth. And to me, where is the consideration of the players of all the teams that they cheated and defeated? Where is the consideration of all the players on all the teams that they played and beat last year, if it happened the year before, this year? I mean, I get it. If you went to play at Michigan and your coaches were doing this unwittingly and putting you in positions to win games and cutting corners and doing things like that, and you had no part in it and you just went to work every day, yeah, it's unfair to you. I get that. But man, let's don't lose sight of the fact of the real freaking victims here, which is everybody that they played against and everybody that they're gonna play against. It's like a baseball manager or somebody in basketball who fouls out. The referee didn't foul you out. The umpire didn't throw you out of the game. You threw yourself out of the game with your behavior. You fouled yourself out of the game because you hacked the guy in the second quarter. You took a block charge and got called a block, and you fouled yourself out of the game. These guys took themselves out of contention for the Big Ten championship with the systemic scheme that they had to cheat their opponents. Period. Anything short of them being ruled ineligible for this year's Big Ten championship doesn't suit me. That just doesn't suit me because it won't fit the crime. They have stolen victories against God knows how many teams, doing things that only they are doing. No, it's not been proven or shown that anybody else did it. They're going to argue, well, you haven't proven anything here. Well, the evidence that we've seen is pretty damn illustrative to me. I mean, it's very damning when you see it, laid out there that, they sent people to these places, and then the guy who's the cornerstone of the whole thing is standing right next to both coordinators, barking signals out, hey, it's going to be a run 5 seconds before the snap. You don't think that information helps somebody to put a proper defense in place? To know, well, we don't have to bother playing the run. 11 guys can commit to stopping the running back. You don't think that information doesn't help? You don't think that doesn't change the outcome of a game? It certainly does. So anything short of that, they're talking about suspending Jim Harbaugh. That's nothing. They showed earlier this season they played 3 games without him. Him not being there doesn't mean a damn bit of difference. If they're still eligible for this championship, that makes a difference. So I want to see somebody have the balls to do what's right finally, and call a spade and say, no, you cheated the system. You don't deserve to play in this year's championship. Anything short of that doesn't suit me.
And I am sure there is evidence that we're not even privy to yet. I mean, we've heard there's been leaks, for the Big Ten to be this, unified and this pissed off. These coaches, these administrators now, Commissioner Tony Petitti, he went to, Michigan last Friday to meet with their president. They must have some serious hard evidence. And again, we've seen a lot of it that's leaked out. And even some of the stuff that, like Connor Stallions being decked out in Central Michigan gear in disguise. Like the whole thing is just, it's crazy. The latest thing, I don't know if this has anything to do with, this has nothing to do with sign stealing. The latest thing that come out is Blake Corum had business dealings with Connor Stallions. Blake Corum denies that, but then he's bragging about it on his Instagram page. So it's like, okay, he definitely knew he had business dealings, but I digress. One other thing I want to get your thoughts on.
I want to throw.
Go for it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got to let my dog out, and then I want to throw in that, it just, they talk about, oh, Michigan could leave the Big Ten, whatever. There's 2 thoughts about this. First of all, they're part of the Big Ten. They are. Yeah, we know they're a foundation of the Big Ten. We get it. They agreed. It's in the bylaws. Everybody agreed to the bylaws that this is, you are open to discipline if certain things happen. If you violate the sportsmanship rule or whatever, which is a very broad rule. Basically they've cheated the integrity of the game. And that it can't be any clearer than what a clearer violation of a sportsmanship rule than this. I don't know that I've ever seen. So they are subject to whatever discipline, and they agreed to this discipline. And there's no recourse. If he puts it down on paper that this is what it's going to be, that's what it is. There's no they may appeal it, and then he can listen to their appeal. But whatever he ultimately says, as long as the presidents have his back, then the other 13 presidents have his back, then that's what it is. Secondly, they are under contractual obligations to the Big Ten Conference, probably in perpetuity. So they could say, oh, we're going to leave. We're going to test the waters. We're going to go to the SEC. Bull crap. They are in with the Big Ten till death do us part. Trust me, they're not going anywhere. Plus, all the money that you make in the Big Ten, it can't be duplicated anywhere else. So don't let anybody fool you that they are going to take their ball and go home. That certain games aren't going to be played. Believe me, games are going to be played. No one's too stupid to cancel a $10 million gate and give back ticket revenue and have a television network ask for a rebate. No one's doing that. I question the timing. I don't know. I said the discipline should be delivered at 4 p.m. the day of the Ohio State-Michigan game. As soon as the game ends, let us know what the final decision is and live with that. And I was an advocate of just ruling them ineligible for the Big Ten championship, but not a postseason ban, because then they could still be in the playoff. They could still be in the Peach Bowl or New Year's Six Bowl, and you could still cash that check for all that bowl revenue. They have to put them in there. They're in the top 5 team. So, that's my feeling. Why don't you do that and not cut, don't keep the revenue, but just take them out of the bid for the championship.
And if they're just going to do suspensions now, I'm completely with you. Suspending Harbaugh is not nearly enough.
Nothing.
You'd have to suspend both coordinators at the very least. And then whatever happens initially from the Big Ten, the NCAA is going to come with the hammer during the offseason. But
all
we're
these
talking about the Big
wins
Ten right now. And I want to get into this. I keep hearing Michigan defenders all of a sudden are big fans of due process. You got to let due process play out. You got due process. We talked about this on Monday's show. These people are either being intentionally obtuse or they do not know what due process is. This is not a court of law. This is not the government coming down on you. That is when due process comes into play. Okay, this has nothing to do with due process. I mean, Steve, remember that kid, I think went to San Diego State, was drafted by the Bills last year, and then he was accused of sexual assault. They got him out of there right away, and it turns out he was not guilty. I shouldn't even say not guilty. He was innocent of everything. There was no due process there. Michigan State's players last year. Now, you can say, I agreed with this. We saw the video of these guys like just hammering away at Michigan players using their helmets as weapons. Was there any due process there? Did they let the investigation play out? No. Those Michigan State players were suspended right away. And I think somebody named Jim Harbaugh was like leading the charge saying they should be suspended right away. So I don't want to hear anything about due process. First of all, it doesn't come into play here. Everybody that's a Michigan defender's due process, even stupid Desmond Howard's breaking that out. But you even have the Michigan president saying it. Santa Ono is saying, well, we need due process here. How does the president of Michigan not understand what due process is? Anyway, had to get that off my chest. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. The issue is time is of the essence, and the championship is to be decided this year for 2023, and their actions have made them ineligible for the championship, in my opinion, and that needs to be dealt with today. I mean, that needs to be dealt with yesterday. I mean, that we aren't waiting until May of 2025 to come to a final finding, or whatever. I've seen enough. I've seen enough. Explain to me what my eyes are seeing. Explain to me how you didn't bend this rule and break it. Explain to me why they shouldn't throw the book at you. Explain to me that. Riddle me that, Batman. Jesus.
Well, hopefully something. I think ESPN just spent about, I was looking over my TV. I think they spent about 20 minutes straight talking about it. They had Feinbaum on. So I'm glad you guys tuned in for the show. Thank you very much. Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you very much to the wisdom of Mr. Steve Helwagen. Thanks again to all of you guys. I know there's like a million Buckeye podcasts out there. I know a lot of you guys listen to all of them.
This is the best.
Watch all of them. But I just appreciate you guys are a part of the Bucknuts Morning 5. So thanks to Steve. Thank you very much to all of you. Let's see when the shoe finally drops at Michigan, my friends. Have a great rest of your day.